Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the learning of Teres Hashem Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. We're dedicated by Shalom Fogel, Ilui Nishmas Yaakov Zev ben Yehuda Aryeh, Rivka bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam bas Gad, Yosef ben Tzion ben Yaakov Zev, by Baruch Ian, Ilui Nishmas Yaakov Chaim ben Abba, Esther bas Yona, Avram ben Shmuel HaKohen by Yaakov Yemansky, with a Korsatov to the Rav and Zoom family, Nachas from children and grandchildren, by A.B. Spry with Nachas from children and grandchildren, It's Salah from London, Joshua Rosenberg, a virtual Talmud. We welcome everybody in here this fine evening. So by Mincha, I did speak a little bit about Thanksgiving. Do you know that there was a time that the Aguda Convention served turkey on Thanksgiving, and Ramosha didn't like it, so they stopped it. But there was a time that they served at the Agudish Convention turkey. As I mentioned, the subject of Thanksgiving is very emotional by some people. It became in America a family day, where families got together, and talking about doing away with it was something that was like talking about something very sacred. There are different opinions. Ramila was Eish Lahava, that it had pagan beginnings, and that therefore it is B'chukei Seim Loisei Leichu. To my Kehillah, I always said, you could have a family day, just don't call it Thanksgiving, and don't serve turkey. You know, if you want to serve a gestupte Gans, I remember that when we were bringing up our family, one of the favorite foods for Yom Tov was a duck. And at that time, I had my first Shver Olav Hashalom, Aaron ben Moshe, living with us, and he said, duck was nothing. A delicacy was a gestupte Gans. That was a delicacy. It's a stuffed goose. I can't be marich. I can't elaborate too much about this because, first of all, I don't know much about it. But I want to learn from my. I have my wife's, Miriam Libby's, which makes it my nephew, Ari Rosenfeld. Ari Rosenfeld is the mezinikel of Miriam Libby's sister, Hindi in Eretz Yisrael. He's younger than all my children. That means he's younger than Yocheved. He has the face like an angel. Somehow, Hashem is Mesavev Dvarim. He ended up in a very high position in Israeli intelligence. We didn't even realize how high. I mean, this is a boy, I don't think he's 30 yet. We didn't even realize how high a position. He is now sitting in jail on some kind of accusation of leaking certain classified material. Aaron Rosenfeld. Ari Rosenfeld. You read about it?
Yeah. Eli Felster.
Yes. Yeah. So some people are calling him a very big hero. And I was sent clips of my nieces on Israeli television, speaking about their brother. I mean, this is a boy who, Mamish, he's like an angel. And he's named after my shver, who was Mamish. My shver was a survivor of the Nazis. So I myself don't know much about it, but I will say we should all learn for Aaron ben Hind. I think it's Hind Esther, or Hind Gittel, but that he should have be exonerated of any wrongdoing. I know that what he did was very beneficial for Netanyahu, so it must have to do with a lot of Israeli politics, and he's like a pawn caught in the middle of something, so he should be freed. He has some kind of a trial coming up next week again. He should be freed. But anyway, getting back to Thanksgiving, they always said, the Jews have Mother's Day. So they say every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. By a Jew, every day is Thanksgiving. And it really is that way because that's our name. We are Yehudim. We are people that give thanks. I'll tell you a piece of information that many people don't know. Ramesha stood the whole Psuk of the Zimra. He didn't sit. When we sit, the Ashrei, the Halukas, he didn't. He stood the whole Psuk of the Zimra. But I saw him late in life, in his 90s. Then already he was sitting. But he always stood up for Mizmor L'Seidah. Mizmor L'Seidah, a song of thanks, that he always stood up for. I mentioned by Mincha that Yeshiva World News had this terrible piece in Hendon. Hendon is a very beautiful suburb in London. There were flyers all over Hendon. Jews leave England or be slaughtered. All over London, all over Hendon. And the Hendon golf course had SWAT stickers put on it. It's really very scary. And one of the ways that we protect ourselves is by making brachas. Right? It says David HaMelech saw that there was 100 casualties, so he was mesaken mea brachas. And we all know that moedim is b'gematria 100. So being thankful, that's what we should chazer über Thanksgiving. Of course, the Jewish Thanksgiving is Hanukkah. That's a time of l'haydaisu l'halel, to give thanks. We are holding by Amar HaMeimar. Amar HaMeimar, 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Kuf Nun Hey Amid Beis. I am feeling somewhat better than yesterday. Yesterday was, yesterday I took this antibiotic Macrobid, and I had such a severe allergic reaction against it that I couldn't even look at food. Today, finally, at supper time, My wife made me a potato and a half with sour cream, and I was able to get it down. Until then, I wasn't able to. It reminded me of a very famous word from the Chavetz Chaim. Chavetz Chaim said that someone went over to the doctor and said, "Doctor, I have no appetite. Could you put something in the food that I should be able to eat it?" So the doctor told him, "There's nothing wrong with the food. I have to put something in you. Nothing wrong with Hashem's food." So the Chavetz Chaim said that's pshat in the bracha that we make in Birchas HaTorah. Va'arevna Hashem Elokeinu es divrei seirascha b'finu. Hashem, makes sweet the words of your Torah in our mouths. The Torah doesn't need sweetening. The Torah is nechamodim izav, mipaz ravu musukim midvash v'noifes sufim. The Torah doesn't need sweetening. But sometimes our mouths need it. There's a chsaron in our mouths. So I really felt that way. I consider myself, this is not a boast, this is not even something to be necessarily proud of. Just the fact is, I'm a foodie. I like food. And I couldn't look at food. It looked to me, my wife was trying to push in front of me things. So I thank Hashem that today is better. Okay, we welcome in Saba, Ben Zion Cohen, Menachem Yemansky, Irving Fishbaum, Aaron Swade, Dr. Guy, Marshall, our resident Turkey, please don't insult turkeys. Yitzi Fuchs, Rabbi Kranz, Yisrael Fisher, Eddie Chazan, Yitzi Muller, Nachman Chapler, Shelley Zeitlin, Stephen Holtzman, Ruvain Pollack, Michal, Ilya Shutman, Naftali Jablin, Abe Arbach. What a crowd we have here tonight. Berish Gesseman, Gedalia Engel, Chaim Kramer, Rich Lenner, Michal Avram, Ruvain, and Reb Halpert. Really, really very nice crowd. So the Gemara now says, there's 3 lines from the bottom. Amar Ameimar, Umatanosai matana. The din is that if a child that's 13 or a girl that's 12 gives a gift, even of real estate, the gift is a good gift. Even though we said that they can't do business with real estate until they're 18 or 20, but a gift they could give. So Rav Ashi says that doesn't seem to make sense. A sale where they get something, the Mikabel Zuzeh, yet we invalidate it, Amit Delo, because Dilma Moizelum Asvin, maybe they'll sell it too cheaply. Then Matana, they're not getting anything. The Leimide, they're not getting anything, then for sure that shouldn't be respected. Amalei. So he said, according to you, let's say the young man does a good deal. Zavin Shavi Chamisha B'shita, he sells something worth 5 and gets 6. So according to you, it should go through. Hachanami de Zvine Zvine. Rather, the rabbis knew the psychology of a young teenager, an adolescent. Nothing's changed, Rabbi say. Adolescents, they like geld. They like money. And if you say that their sale is a good sale, they'll rattle some, money in front of them. And they'll liquidate all their father's property because they don't once you put money in front of them, they don't have a control. Aval gabe matana, but a gift, it's not normal for an adolescent to give things away. Aval matana ilav dahavale hanomine, if not that there was a matter of gratitude, serious gratitude, lahaviyovle matana, they wouldn't give it. So the Rabbanan who want that people should be good to their orphans and take care of them, Amar Rabbanan tahave matanasa matana, let their gift be a good gift, that people should do things for them. Okay, now we're going to have as we welcome in also Ari Pfefferkorn and Jack Silverman. Now we're going to have a wide range of halachas. Amar Shmuel Boitkin, we check to see if the person is an adult, if visibly they reach puberty, the Kiddushin, in order that they should be able to get married, because you have to be an adult to get married. The Gerushin, for divorce. Ula Chalitza, we'll see that this pertains specifically that the girl also has to be an adult before she could do the ritual of Chalitza. Ulamei Unin, the din is that a child that was married rabbinically by her mother or her brother, until she becomes of age, she could issue a refusal, and she doesn't need a get. So we check to see if she's over the age. V'limkar b'nichsei aviv, in order to sell the estate of his father, Achie ben Esim, he has to be 20. So now there's an obvious question. If you got to check for Kiddushin already, so since you checked for Kiddushin, you know he's an adult. Why do you have to check again by the divorce? Asks the Gemara, the Kavan the Bat Kino the Kiddushin, once we already checked that he's an adult for Kiddushin, the Gerushin Lamali, why do we have to check again when he wants to do a divorce? We already know he's an adult. Says the Gemara, no, there is a time where he will have a biblical marriage even if he's not an adult. And that's in the case of Yibum. In other words, if Ruvain, his brother, died, Shimon, if he is Miyabim, Ruvain's wife, at the age of 9 and 1 day, that's already a biblical marriage. And that's what the Gemara answers. The Gemara says, the Tanan ben Tesha Shanam v'yom echad, a 9-year-old in 1 day, that's considered already a person that's a bas bia, that's sexually mature. Shebal yavimtai, that slept with his sister-in-law. Kana, but in order to give a get, in order to dissolve it, he has to be an adult. Ve'ena nice and get at shigadol. So then we have to check if, when he wants to give a divorce, that he's already an adult. L'chalitza. Now this is specifically that we check a girl to see that she reached puberty. That's not universal. Some people say that the girl could do the chalitza even if she's a child. It's only the man that has to be the adult. The Torah says that the Yavam that's going to do the chalitza, that's going to subject to the chalitza, he has to be an adult. Aval Isha, but the girl of the deceased brother, Ben Gedayla Ben Ketana, could even be a minor. Kamash Malan, no, we have to check the girl too. The Makshinan Isha Ish, we juxtapose the woman to the man, like Rabbi Yossi, not like Rabbi Yossi. Ulamiyunin, and we check if they reach the stage of 2 years. Because once the woman reaches the stage of 2 years, she can't issue a refusal. Rather, she has to get a divorce That's lafuke mit Rabbi Yehuda. That's to exclude the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar Rabbi Yehuda v'limkor b'nichsei aviv, to sell the estate of his father. Excuse me. The Amar Rabbi Yehuda lafuke mit Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar ad sheyar b'shachar, that she could still make a refusal until the whole area down there is majority black, majority of hairs. Kamash Malan, the like Rabbi Yehuda, once she sees 2 pubic hairs, she can't do the miyan anymore. The limka b'nichsei aviv ad sheyeh ben esrim, they can't sell the property he inherited until he's 20. Lafuke maman da'amar ben shmoneh esrei. It's coming to exclude the opinion that says 18. No, you have to wait until he's 20. The hilchasa teichsman kilufneisman. The halacha is that within the 20th year is like before the 20th year. The hilchasa kigidol b'menashe. The law is like gidol b'menashe, that if we see that he has business savvy, right? He works in a brokerage house, like that 14-year-old girl that we learned about last night. So then their sale is a good sale, even if they're not of the age of 20. The hilchasa kamar zutra. The law is like marzutra, that you could give testimony when he's an adult, when he's bar mitzvah, bas mitzvah on movables, but not on real estate. The hilchasa kamemer. The law is like amemer, that the child, although he can't sell until he's 20, but he could give a gift. The hilchasa k'Rav Nachman amar Shmuel b'kulu. And halacha is like Rav Nachman in the name of Shmuel in all these things that we check for Kiddushin, for Gerushin, for Chalitza. We check for all of these things. Now, till now, we were learning and taking it for granted that a matna shchiv meira, an oral declaration of a dying man, is binding. A kinyan is not needed. But this is not a universal opinion. Says the Mishnah, "Hamachalik nechosav al piv." If a man is giving away his property with an oral statement, Rabbi Elazar says that doesn't work. The dinim of kinyanim. Oral statements are no good. Rabbi Elazar burst the whole bubble about shchiv meira. Rabbi Elazar Aimer echad bari ve'echad mesuken, whether he's healthy, whether he's deathly ill, you have to do the requisite kinyanim. Nechosim sheyesh lem achrayis. If it's real estate, nikne bekesa b'shtar chazaka, you have to do the kinyan with money or a deed of sale, or by making some kind of improvement. V'she'ena machrayis, and movables, you have to do a niknel of mashicha. If it's a heavy movable, like a sack of potatoes, you need mashicha. If it's something light, you need agva. If it's something very big, like an elephant, you can do masira. But you have to do a kinyan. So the rabbis, they don't agree. They hold, like, we know there's position throughout Shas. They don't agree with Rabbi Elazar. They hold that a dying man can give something away orally. Amrullah, so they said to him, Ma'isa bi'iman shel b'nei Reichel, the incident with the mother of the children of Reichel. Reichel was a man. Sha'isa chayla, she was on a sick bed. Va'amra, and she said, Tnu kivinasi labiti, give my brooch to my daughter. V'i b'shnei maser mana, and it was worth 12 mana. 12 mana is 12,000 zuz. It was very expensive. Umeisa, she died. V'kaimu estvareha, and they upheld her word. So you see that the oral declaration of a dying person is binding. Amalahan, so Rebbe Eliezer said there's a story behind that. Amalahan b'nei Reichel tikbareim imam. The children of Reichel, their mothers should bury them. In other words, they were deserving of a curse, and therefore they took away the brooch from them. Not that it was legally, but why were they worthy of such a curse? So the Gemara is going to tell us, there's one of the terrible sins in the Torah is kloya kerem, is a forbidden mixture of the vineyard. The kloya kerem becomes asur, not only you can't eat it, it's asur ba'ana, it says that you have to burn it. So Rebbe Eliezer hold the children of the Bnei Reichel, they kept thorns growing in their vineyard. And Rebbe Eliezer held that since thorns in Arabia was animal food, therefore you're not allowed to keep it. That's kloya kerem. Since they were warned not to do it and they did it, that's why they was deserving of a curse. But let's see the Gemara inside. Tanya Amalem Rebbe Eliezer l'chachamim. Rebbe Eliezer told the chacham, I'll prove to you that the oral statement of a dying man is not binding. Maisa b'Meroni echad. There was a Maisa, a man from Meron, Shahaya b'Yerushalayim, that was in Yerushalayim. V'hayalei metaltal and harbi. He had a lot of money. Ubikesh lit name b'matana, and he wanted to give it to people as a gift. But the people that were there were not around to make a kinyan. So how could he convey it to them if they're not personally there? Amrulai, they said to him, Ein lam takana achi yikn al gav karka. You could use that kinyan which I told you of agav. This, by the way, is one of the 6 kinyanim I make with the guy, with the chametz. What I do is I rent to the guy a room, and then with the room he acquires the movables. That's called kinyan agav. So what did he do? Halach v'lokach beis sela echad samach l'Yerushalayim. He bought a beis sela, a rock near Yerushalayim. Va'amar, and he said, Svono leploni, I give as a gift the north of the rock to rich, v'imay me'at zayin or me'at chayvius, and with it 100 sheep and 100 barrels of wine. Udromo leploni, and the south I give to Chaim, v'imay me'at zayin or me'at chayvius, umeis, and he died. V'kaimu chacham es devarav. Now, from the fact, Rebbe Elazar's argument was, from the fact that you see that he couldn't just make a deathbed bequest, you see that an oral bequest is not binding. Amalai, so they said to Rebbe Eliezer, Misham Raya? Meroni Barihai, he was healthy at the time. That's why he didn't have the option. He happened to die, but he was healthy. If he would have been in a sick bed, then he could have given away with an oral declaration. Amalahem B'nei Reichel. The reason why we awarded the brooch to the daughter is because tikbarei imam, they should be buried by their mother. In other words, they deserve to be penalized. It's my time of kalaylu. Why did he curse them? It's because they kept thorns in their vineyard. Rebbe Eliezer goes according to his reasoning. If a person doesn't pluck out the thorns, but lets it grow, Rebbe Eliezer kiddush, it makes the whole mixture kiddush. Kiddush means it's forbidden, because it's a forbidden mixture of the vineyard, and and another species. By the way, the Lashon, the pasuk says tukdash, which we darshan tukat eish. It should be burned in fire. So because they did not remove the vineyard of the forbidden mixture, that's why they should be cursed. No, that doesn't make the vineyard forbidden. It only makes it forbidden if that's something that people usually keep. People don't keep weeds, they don't keep thorns. So the Gemara says, Taka, what's the reason for Rabbi Eliezer? If the vineyard had karkum, crocuses, chazal, that's fit. Why should there be a penalty? On Rab Chanina, my time with Rabbi Eliezer, she came by Arabia. In Arabia, mekaimim kaitzim b'sadais l'gmaleim. Amar Rab Levi. So Rab Levi says, kainin kinyan mishiv meira afilu b'Shabbos. We could make, even though on Shabbos you're not supposed to make an official acquisition, but kainin kinyan mishiv meira afilu b'Shabbos. Now that sounds like we're concerned about Rabbi Eliezer, that the oral declaration is not good enough. The Gemara says no. It's not because we're concerned about Rabbi Eliezer. We're afraid that the sick man will think it's not enough. And if we don't make the requisite, if we don't make a kinyan, he might freak out. His blood pressure might go sky high. Something might happen to his health. So therefore we don't do it. When it comes to people's health, their mental condition is even more important than their physical condition. It says, refuas hanefesh, refuas haguf. So doctors, they have to have different approaches for different people. When my Rebbetzin had her disease, so I told the doctors, you could treat her, but she doesn't want to know her condition. There were some doctors that said, no, it's not ethical, I have to tell her. So I fired those doctors. And for the first year, she didn't know. Then a well-meaning person came into the house and said, my sister just got diagnosed with this. I know you're going through it. Can you give me some pointers? From that day on, her mental condition plummeted tremendously. There's different ways to doctor for different people. Now, says the Mishnah, Rebbe Eliezer Aimer b'Shabbos dvarav kayama. Rebbe Eliezer has a compromised position. He says that since on Shabbos you can't write, so there we instituted that an oral transmission should be good. But not during the week. Rabbi Yeshua says to the contrary. Shabbos, you're never supposed to do it. And yet we say it's good, an oral transmission. Rabbi Yeshua, b'Shabbos amru, kal v'chaymer b'chol, for sure during the week. Kayaytzibay, question is, can I give something to Rich on behalf of a minor? A minor himself can't make a kinyan. So here we have an interesting machlokes. Zachem l'katan. Rich could be zeichen in something for a child because the child himself is not right to make a kinyan. So since the child can't make a kinyan, so therefore he could be zeichen it for the child. He can't be zeichen it for an adult because an adult can make his own kinyan. So kiyaytze by zachem l'katan, ve'ein zachem l'gadol. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua says to the contrary. If you could do it for a child who cannot make his own kinyan, you definitely could be zeichen something for an adult. Rabbi Yeshua you could be zeichen for a child, you surely could be zeichen for an adult. Rabbi said, I did the Mishnah Yomis already. I'm still not yet of the strength to do a Shabbos table, and Mitzvah Hashem soon. We want to thank you for joining us. Wish you a good Shabbos. Motzi Shabbos Shir is Be'ezus Hashem at 7:30.